Good afternoon, everyone. It is fantastic to be joining you here today. It's been a great week at the G&E conference. This morning was very informational. Would love to thank the Mplify events team for hosting us. There's a lot that goes into pulling this together, and I know what great work they've done. My name is Scott Lawrence, and I have the privilege of leading our product organization for Verizon Business. And as Kevin mentioned, I recently joined the board of directors at Mplify at the beginning of the year, but Verizon has been a long-standing member of Mplify and have adopted many of the APIs across our business, and we're looking at extending that as we go. And I'm a huge believer in the global mission of Mplify to really create an alliance of global networks and drive service innovation. Now, today, I want to speak to you about the current AI arms race, and specifically dive a little deeper into the role that AI infrastructure plays and how this really represents a strategic power shift and one that service providers are perfectly poised to take advantage of, but also how this AI infrastructure will need to rely on alliances like Mplify, which are going to be critical to bring our global networks together. In other words, I'm going to be talking about where the opportunity is for us to power and monetize the new AI economy. All right, AI or Gen AI growth has really been at unprecedented levels, like nothing we've seen before. Many have called this an AI arms race, and for good reason. But here's something to think about. The AI arms race is not a single race with a single winner. There are multiple races, and there will be multiple winners. But as a business, as a service provider, as a technology manufacturer, you're only going to win if you're in the right race with the right assets. So today I want to talk a little bit about three different landscapes that we're seeing as part of the current AI arms race. First, the race for models. Second, the race for talent. And then third, the race for AI infrastructure. So if we begin with the first race, the race for models, many of you, if not all of you in this room, have been working with the various frontier models that are out there. Everything from Google to Anthropic to Perplexity to OpenAI and others. These are models that support up to 1 trillion parameters, requiring over 1 petabyte of storage, which reaches biological in terms of scale. The other piece that's important to note is we're already starting to see some winners emerge. At Verizon, we begun deploying Gemini. We had early access to Mythos, and we begun deploying Claude Code at a broad scale across our organization as we're pivoting into an AI-first company. But it's important to stay close to the model race, even if you're not directly involved in building these models, because the strengths of these models opens up new opportunities for our employees, opens up opportunities for them to elevate and enhance customer experience, drive operational efficiencies, and create new innovative products and services. Next, I want to hit on the race for talent. We've all seen the headlines, big firms that are poaching talent from one another, how expensive AI talent can be, and how rare it is to find that talent. But I want you to think about talent in a different way. And I want you to think about the talent not only that you have within your own team, but as you're thinking about bringing talent into your organization. Sam Altman gave an interview a while back in which he talked about how different generations are integrating and adopting the Gen AI technology. He talked about older generations tend to leverage Gen AI as a simple Google search replacement, where he said millennials were leveraging Gen AI much like a life advisor, helping them with productivity and decisions. Whereas college grads and Gen Z are integrating Gen AI deeper into their lives, much like an operating system. So as you're considering the diversity of the talent within your organization or beyond, seeking out those individuals that approach AI in a completely different and more fundamental way will be important. And then the final AI race that I want to touch on today, and the one that I'll spend the remainder of my time on, is really the race for AI infrastructure. So what do I mean by AI infrastructure? So on a broad level, everything. But what's been fascinating to me is since the explosion of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November of 2022, all of the conversations in rooms like this with the analyst community, investors, customer meetings have all been centered around large data center builds, massive compute deployments, chipsets, tokens, and power. But what's been missing from the conversation, or not as relevant or front and center, is the critical role that the network must play in the distribution of AI workloads at scale. We've heard from research firm Omdia that they expect network traffic, AI-driven network traffic, to grow at over 120% CAGR between now and 2030. That is an incredible amount of traffic that is going to hit our global networks. And it's not just about opening up new sheer bandwidth. The way in which our networks operate must radically change. We're already seeing new network currencies emerge, things like network slicing, greater uplink, KPIs like time to first token, and looking at how to help agent-to-agent transaction, from discovery to authentication to security to transaction to delivery. So it's not a surprise that we're seeing this unprecedented demand for AI infrastructure. So let's dig a little deeper. So our industry has been through game-changing technology evolutions before. The rise of the internet, the acceleration of mobile, the adoption of cloud, and now the era of intelligence where AI infrastructure will play a critical role. Now the demand is clear. In the US, we're already seeing that we will have a need for 3.5 times the gigawatt capacity to support those data center builds by 2030. A recent report published by Goldman Sachs Global Institute estimated that $7.6 trillion will be spent on AI infrastructure between now and 2031. And all that AI infrastructure requires massive amounts of fiber. Now, beyond that, we're also seeing another pivot taking place. In fact, McKinsey Consulting estimates that by 2030, 70% of all AI traffic will be real-time inferencing. And I think it was mentioned earlier by Pascal, but at NVIDIA's GTC conference, during Jensen Huang's keynote, he announced that the inferencing inflection point has already arrived. As we pivot from these large language models and training frontier models into real-time inferencing, it is going to drive the need for edge compute. But I think it's important to talk about what the edge is, because the edge can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. When I refer to the edge, it can be everything from device to customer prem to service provider edge to service provider core to cloud. And so as you see that happening, it's not about us providing faster networks. It's about intelligent proximity. It's about monetizing relevance over just bandwidth. Now, within Verizon Business and many other service providers globally, we've been thinking about how to support our customers in this new age of radically changing our networks. We own the physical edge. We are the builders of infrastructure. And this is the why behind Verizon's AI Connect, which is a multifaceted, secure, scalable, AI-ready infrastructure that connects our customers to their edge. And this is how we will compete and win in the AI infrastructure race. So to give you a quick overview of what our AI Connect strategy is, it's really about reimagining the assets that we have spent billions of dollars in investing over many, many years and putting them into play across 4 commercial plays that all work together. First, it's about tapping into the available space and power that we have, looking at retrofitting our network facilities and data centers to become distributed AI factories. The second is tapping into our deep fiber assets, both at the metro and long haul, to provide high-capacity superhighways for the hyperscalers and neoclouds. But we're also seeing a massive demand for optical networking from our customers. And when we look at wave services from 100 gig to 400 gig and beyond, our customers across enterprise and public sector are knocking on the door asking for this as they've transformed their networks as well. But this final piece, and this is where we're really leaning in on, is the adaptive network fabric. It's about how do we cloudify the telco experience to create orchestration based on intent and not just bits and bytes. And this is where the alliance like Mplify really comes into play. And you heard from Pascal this morning about the exchange, and you've heard about how we need to think differently, not just about north-south, but about east-west, and how as global network providers, we need to come together because AI is not going to know any boundaries when it comes to networks. So this is an opportunity for us to lean in and do that. Now, I also can't forget the role that our macro 5G and future 6G network will have. Because as the new physical AI device ecosystems emerge, that will become a critical pathway to connect not only IoT, but autonomous guided vehicles, drones, humanoid robotics, devices that we can't even think about today. All of this means that we can offer real-time AI enablement at the edge, secure autonomous orchestration, low latency, high trust, secure environments for our customers' intelligence. From device to edge to core to cloud, we've developed a multi-cloud, multi-location strategy. And to sum it up here, this is a unique inflection point for service providers because we have the opportunity to reset the table and go further up the value stack and really look at how do we extract compounding value as the network utilization skyrockets over the upcoming years. So with that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.